The sharp crack of a gunshot splitting the dusk jolted John Parker from his Texas porch as evening shadows stretched over his 200-acre ranch. A deafening blast that sent the screen door banging against its frame, his rifle leaping to his hands as the coffee mug slipped from his grip, shattering on the weathered boards with a crash that reverberated through the fading light, the shards catching the last glimmers of a blood-red sunset. He stood tall, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest, the burn scar on his forearm throbbing as he squinted toward the eastern fence line, the lake's silver surface glowing faintly beyond the plains. The distant lowing of cattle, now eerily silent, replaced by the echo of that single shot ringing in his ears. After yesterday's dawn victory over the cattle thieves and the tracker's capture, John had trusted Hargrove's cuffs to hold, a fragile peace settling over the ranch as Ethan's loyalty hardened, but now the air thrummed with violence, the Ridge Watcher's shadow breaking free, and he'd face it with the steel of his 54 years. He stormed across the yard to the barn, saddling Dusty with hands steady from decades of grit. The chestnut mare snorting nervously as he swung into the saddle, her ears twitching at the ominous quiet, and he rode hard toward the fence, rifle raised high. The wildflowers along the plains drooping in the cooling breeze, their colors muted by the encroaching dusk, his mind racing as he braced to meet the blood that stained his land. The air was heavy with the scent of dust and pine as he spurred Dusty across the open ground, the western sky bleeding into deep violet and crimson. The lake's edge a distant shimmer reflecting the dying light, its calm surface a stark contrast to the tension knotting his gut. He crested a low rise near the eastern pasture, reining in with a thud that sank his boots into the dry earth, his eyes narrowing as the scene unfolded like a wound torn open. The fence line, mended just yesterday, was slashed again, barbed wire curling in jagged coils, blood streaking the metal and pooling in the dirt below, a steer lying lifeless nearby, its throat cut clean, crimson soaking the grass in a brutal warning. Beyond the wire, a lone figure stood amidst the scrub brush, a tall, lean man in a tattered duster coat, the tracker from dawn, his binoculars gone, replaced by a bloodied machete in one hand, a .45 pistol in the other, his face shadowed by a wide-brimmed hat, eyes glinting with malice as he stared John down, dust swirling around him from a restless wind. Cattle lowed faintly in the distance, pinned beyond a rise, but this wasn't theft, it was vengeance, and John's blood ran cold, suspicion hardening into fury, his finger tightening on the trigger as he chambered around. The click sharp in the stillness, his breath steady despite the rage boiling in his veins. He dismounted, rifle raised, the dust stinging his eyes and coating his Stetson as he stepped forward. The wildflowers trembling amidst the thorny scrub brush, their petals catching the last light as he closed the gap, the tracker's machete dripping red, a grim smile curling his lips. "Thought you'd won, old man," the tracker rasped, voice rough as gravel, raising the pistol slow, its barrel glinting in the dusk. "Hargrove's cage don't hold me. Lang's cashed us. This is your last sunset. Ranch bleeds tonight." John's chest tightened, the steer's blood a stark stain against the plains, and he swung the rifle up, voice steel cutting through the wind. "You're a dead man walking. Drop it, or I bury you here." The tracker laughed, a harsh bark that echoed across the pasture, and fired, the shot cracking loud. The bullet grazing John's shoulder with a hot sting that drew a hiss, blood seeping through his denim as he dove behind a fallen post, the wire snagging his sleeve. His old war wound flaring as he hit the dirt. He rolled, firing back, the crack of his rifle splitting the dusk, the bullet burying into the scrub brush inches from the tracker's leg, sending him staggering back with a curse, dust exploding around him as he ducked low, his machete slashing air in defiance. John sprang up, rifle steady, and charged, boots pounding the earth, closing the distance as the tracker fired again, the shot whizzing past his ear and splintering a fence post, the echo rolling like thunder over the plains. They collided, John tackling the tracker into the scrub, thorns tearing at their clothes as they grappled, the machete slashing wild, nicking John's arm with a shallow cut that burned hot, blood mixing with dust as he wrestled the blade free, slamming it into the dirt with a grunt. The tracker's pistol swung up, but John grabbed his wrist, twisting hard. The snap of bone loud as the gun dropped, the man howling as John pinned him, knee pressing his chest, rifle barrel jammed under his jaw, the lake glowing crimson beyond the rise. "Who's Lang's endgame?" John growled, voice lethal, blood dripping from his arm onto the tracker's coat, the wind carrying the steer's death scent. The tracker spat, blood flecking his lips. Voice ragged. "Grayson, jail king. Lang's his fist. Once you broken, ranch dust. I'm just the edge, more coming." His eyes darted to the ridge, fear flickering, and John's rage flared. The wire's blood a bitter testament as he hauled the tracker up, slamming him against a post, the metal creaking under the impact, dust swirling as the man slumped, defiance fading into pain. Headlights flared through the dusk, Frank's truck roaring up the pasture with a growl, mud spraying, Mary Ellen's mare beside it, shotgun gripped tight, Jake and Ethan piling out, Tom with rope, Sarah and Matt trailing, faces fierce in the fading light. "What's this?" Frank barked, pistol gleaming, eyeing the bloodied wire, the dead steer the tracker pinned. John spat blood, voice rough, shoving the tracker forward. He broke free. Lang's blade cut the herd. Stopped him barely. Mary Ellen swung down, boots thudding, her voice steady. "Stop him good. Blood's his now, John." Ethan charged, grabbing the tracker, wrenching him up, voice raw. "You killed our steer?" "I'll—" John gripped his shoulder, steadying him, rifle close, the lake shimmering below. "Enough, he's done," John said, tone steel over the breeze. "Ethan, check the herd. Jake, Tom, tie him. Hargrove's next." Jake tossed rope to Ethan, who nodded, his hands steady as he ran to the cattle. Trust forging in each step, Tom binding the tracker as Frank kicked the machete clear, Mary Ellen covering with her shotgun, Sarah calling Hargrove, Matt tracing the pistol serial. "Dan, east fence." "Tracker's back. Blood. Grayson's hit," Sarah said, voice crackling. Night fell, the moon rising, wildflowers stained red. When Hargrove's patrol car screeched in, lights cutting the dark. Deputies cuffing the tracker, his coat torn, machete bagged. "What's the play, John?" Hargrove asked, badge glinting, the breeze tugging his hat. John stood tall, rifle slung, voice steady. Blood drying on his arm. Lang's vengeance, Grayson's pulse. "Herd safe, he's not." Hargrove nodded, grim. "He's locked tight now. Lang's exposed. Stay sharp. More's coming." Dawn broke old. The lake calm, the crew gathered, coffee steaming, Ethan firm, the map marked with blood, cattle lowing steady. Wire held, Frank said, pistol gleaming. "But Grayson's alive. Watch the pulse." John met Ethan's gaze, voice steel. "You stood, blood's ours. Hold it." Across the ridge, a light blinked, binoculars, then gone. Heat chamber round, the click loud. Ready for the wire's next stain.